This is a milestone episode. Are you ready? You're listening to the PHEC podcast, episode 400. The field of public health is so broad, overlapping multiple industries. With epidemiology at the core of public health, there are an unlimited number of ways to target specific populations, health conditions, environmental issues, and causes that matter most to you. My name is Dr. Huntley, and I'm the host here on the Public Health Epidemiology Conversations podcast. I'm an epidemiologist, consultant, and entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience in healthcare and public health. On this podcast, my guests and I engage in conversations that demonstrate the importance of public health and epidemiology across a variety of industries, helping you think outside the box and inspire greater positive impact in communities around the world. Now, let's dive into the topic of this brand new episode. Greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining me on this episode. We made it to 400. That is such a major milestone. I never imagined reaching 400 episodes when I started back, 8 years ago in 2017. The first thing I want to express is my gratitude. I am so grateful to all of you who listen to the podcast, whether you've been listening from the beginning or you just tuned in and found it a year ago or maybe a couple of months ago. I appreciate every single listener of the podcast, everyone who's ever shared the podcast, everyone who has provided feedback to us on the podcast to help us improve. This has just been such a rewarding experience to navigate this journey from an idea. I started with this inspiring idea to create something different. I wanted to bring these conversations. I wanted to get to know other people who were doing this good work in public health and build a community. I really started with the community in mind. And I'm just so grateful to all of you who have been a part of this journey for all these episodes, all the guests who have said yes to coming on and sharing their personal stories and the professional work that they do. It's just been an incredible position for me to be in, to be the host and producer and to watch the show grow. And it's been phenomenal. So on this episode today, I'm keeping it very brief because we're also hosting a huge celebration online, a virtual party to celebrate and to share a whole lot of behind the scenes and to roll out some exciting new things that are coming. Now, I've been talking about wanting to have community since day one on this podcast. But recently you've heard me talk about, and I've asked you all to participate in creating a new community, a platform where we could come together and it not be dependent upon a social media network. So we've been working on that. We've created something and I'm rolling all that out during our celebration today. So this is not a spoiler alert because I've been talking about it. But I'm pretty sure what we've created is not anything near what you've imagined it. I'm sure it's above and beyond most expectations. I'm sure it will kind of shock and wow you in all the good ways. And I think we're ready for something like this, especially for the way that we're feeling in public health and what we've been experiencing from major pandemic to all of the things that are seemingly turned upside down here in the last few months. So we're excited for what we're going to be rolling out today. And I promise that after we have the celebration and I share with all the people who have registered to attend, I will bring pieces of that recording and share with all of you. And I'll provide it on the show notes for this episode. And I'll also share it on future episodes. So you'll know more about what we actually put together in terms of a community and you'll have a chance to be a part of it as well. But right now, I'm really going to hold out for all the people who have registered and are celebrating with us live today. I'm excited about that. Looking forward to that. So what I thought would be maybe interesting for you as you're listening, whether you've been listening for just a short while or you've been in this from day one, I have a list of our milestone episodes from over the years, and I'll share links to those episodes in the show notes for quick reference. But in 2017, we launched episode 1 with the introduction. And even in the introduction episode, I'm talking about community. I cringe sometimes when I think about people listening to some of these older episodes. They're just very raw and not as polished and I don't know. I guess it's a sign of growth because maybe, fast forward another 400 episodes, I'll probably think that this one is really cheesy and why did I say that or why did I do that? But it's just the nature of how we are, right? So I share a lot more on our celebration. But if you wanted to go back and tune into any of these milestone episodes, like I said, we're going to have the quick links for you. But episode 1 was the introduction in 2017. And then 2 years later in 2019, we celebrated 100 episodes of the podcast. And it's called Reverse the Mic and Real Behind the Scenes. So celebrating 100 episodes. That was exciting. Every milestone is exciting, but I remember hitting 100. And then in 2021, now I'm going to say all of this, those first big milestones, getting started and hitting 100 episodes happened before the pandemic. So this was earlier in 2019. I think it would have probably fallen right around August of 2019. So this is before the pandemic hit us. So insert the pandemic and kicking off and into the middle of all the messiness in 2021, the episode was episode 200, and it was what I love about podcasting. And, there's a lot that we had navigated just from 2019 to 2021 and still remaining consistent. That was all by itself such a huge accomplishment. And then we fast forward a couple of more years to 2023, and we're celebrating 300 consecutive weekly episodes. That was exciting. I also will go back to 2021. Right after the episode 200 is when we changed the name of the podcast. Some of you may remember that. We used to be Public Health Epidemiology Careers Podcast, and we pivoted to Public Health Epidemiology Conversations Podcast right around shortly after the milestone 200. So it's right around 209. I vaguely remember not being able to get everything lined up the way I wanted it to. At any rate, it's small detail. So celebrating 200 episodes, then 300 in 2023. And then here we are, 2025, celebrating 400 consecutive weekly episodes. We have not missed a Tuesday since we started in 2017. So even if we hit a bump in the road and we miss one coming up or miss that, it's okay. The fact that we've been consistent this long is already blowing my mind, and it actually motivates my team and myself to keep doing this because we like the consistency, and I think you like the consistency. So those are some of the milestone episodes. If you'd like to, go back and review some of those and just kind of hear how things have changed and how some things really remain the same across those milestones. So on the celebration that we're having today, some of the topics I'm going to cover, I'm going to talk about the journey to the first episode, which we talk about these milestones, but just getting to that episode 1 was quite the journey all by itself. How we stay consistent over the years, talk about that a bit. I'm going to share some, I'm calling them bloopers, but they're just embarrassing facts. And I think that's kind of a good thing. I like it when people can be a little raw and vulnerable and kind of share their journey and show some of the scars where they really fell down and, and things like that. And just the progress. I think that I always appreciate that. So I feel like all of you guys may appreciate that as well. It's stretching me a bit, but we're going to do it. We're going to talk about that shift at episode 200, with the name change and kind of a little bit of the why behind that. And some of our accomplishments as a podcast, ratings and so forth, top ranks and some awards that we've received or acknowledgments, recognition that we've received. And then a lot of it will be about building this global community and, really that expansion to reaching over, people in over 140 countries is mind-blowing and humbling at the same time. And I'm really, intentional about the community space that we're building to help it be inclusive and hopefully encourage people from some of these other countries that listen to the podcast to also join our community and be a part of that as well. So I'm excited about, diving into those things on our celebration today and then figuring out how to make that accessible or parts of that accessible available to you all that did not register. Maybe you stumbled upon this and it was too late. That's okay. A lot of these things I'm sharing, especially the community element, you will hear about it because that's something we're going to be growing. It's just the people that participated and helped growing were the first people have access and helped us build it. And those that join the celebration will have first access to that community. And we're going to do a little demonstration and so forth. But I'm excited and I'm hoping to experience some of the way that people hopefully will be pleasantly surprised at what we're doing and how we've invested in the community and in our commitment to what's coming next and more of my vision for what is coming next. So as I wrap up, I just want you to take away from this brief episode how much I appreciate all of you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. This represents a win for public health industry, for this podcast to be as longstanding, as popular, as well received and supported as it has been. And I'm wanting us to lock arms. If you can imagine that, locking arms with other public health professionals who are choosing to do this good work, to keep doing the good work and to keep growing this podcast and community and continuing to have the positive impacts that we have on communities that we serve. Very passionate about that, very excited about that. And we need to have something to celebrate. I mean, we have something to celebrate all the time, but it doesn't feel like it sometimes when we're going through hard phases and hard times as an industry. But, when we celebrate 400 episodes of this podcast, we're celebrating ourselves, our work, the work that we've done, the work that we will do, and our community of professionals. So I hope that this inspires you and that you feel good about it. And this is a win, not just for me as the host or the creator of this podcast, but it's a win that I feel we all should share as an industry. So thank you for being a part of this, supporting the podcast, for sharing the podcast, for being a guest if you've been a guest on the podcast. And I look forward to what's next. So with that in mind, until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening to the Public Health Epidemiology Conversations podcast. Visit phecpodcast.com to find the show notes for each episode and to learn how to work with me.